Now to a guest, to Ellis Cashmore, Professor of Sociology at Aston University and a former sports and media lecturer. Thank you for joining us on the programme. Mr Cashmore, how significant is this report from Der Spiegel?
Well, as we've just heard, it looks like it could be a game changer. On the other hand, it could be absolutely nothing. It really depends on how the Court of Arbitration rule on this. If they believe Satseva, then obviously it does throw the last 4, 5, 6 years and beyond into doubt, because people are going to wonder, hang on, if Rodchenkov is such a doubtful whistleblower and key witness, what does that make every subsequent event after that fact? Because, as we've just heard, a lot of the evidence against all the Russian athletes is circumstantial. In other words, what they're saying is that we've examined the testing procedures and we believe a lot of these samples have been tampered with. And if they've been tampered with, where did the tampering come from? Who did it? And what happened after that? And of course, what we've heard over the past 3, 4, 5 years, I suppose it's been now since the McLaren report, is that there has been this system, what they're calling state-sponsored doping. In other words, somewhere in the higher echelons of the Russian hierarchy, there has been a manipulation, systematic manipulation of doping, not simply at one tournament, but at practically every tournament. And that means that every Russian athlete has been banned over the past several years. They're not going to be in the next Olympics. They're not going to be in the next World Cup. They will be in the Euros. But, you know, this has been a huge stumbling block for Russian sport over the past few years. As you said, if this changes, if this changes over the next 3 days, then we have really to rewrite history. It's as important as that.
What do you make of the fact Der Spiegel is questioning the entire credibility of the Sochi probe? And people might be wondering, why has it taken so long for this to become public?
Well, it hasn't taken that long. I mean, it has been in the public gaze for a long, long time. But the truth of the matter is that people have believed Rodchenkov. They've just thought, well, this guy has fled from Russia. He's taken refuge in the United States. We know not exactly where, but he is the whistleblower. And after he blew the whistle, people began to investigate his claims. And of course, they commissioned inquiries. And the World Anti-Doping Agency, that is WADA, believed him and said that, yes, our reports and every piece of subsequent evidence that we have seems to back his claim up. And of course, as I've said earlier, that we've arrived at this conclusion that the whole Russian state has been involved in not just a few sports or even sports governing body, but it goes even higher. So we've arrived at that conclusion. And of course, Russia has become a pariah in world sport over the past several years.
Do you think this questions the entire trustworthiness of Mr. Rodchenkov in the doping scandal?
Personally, I don't believe him. You know, I think he's got an axe to grind. Obviously, he's protecting his own reputation, his own life, he reckons. He's made all kinds of, you know, quite frankly, sometimes melodramatic claims about what's been going on, cloak and dagger stories. And for political reasons that I won't go into now, but of course, you know, I've explained them on RT over the past year or so, I believe there has been a political will to accept what he has been saying about Russia. But the evidence that I've seen, at least, and, you know, I don't know if there is more evidence out there that I haven't been privy to, but for me, that isn't compelling evidence. And I'm not convinced there has been this thing called state-sponsored doping going on at all.
Rodchenkov's lawyers seem to be quite confident about their position in the probe. Has anything changed with these new revelations, do you think? Well,
I think they've got every reason to be confident because, I mean, they're suing him for a lot of money, which they have no chance of getting because he isn't worth that. You know, he isn't worth 30 million or 3 million or whatever. I don't think so in any case. And everything that he's said so far has been accepted. America at the moment is in the midst of another political, I won't call it battle, but it would seem to me at least that it is questioning now the World Anti-Doping Agency. America wants to become, as one paper put it recently, the police officer of world doping. You know, it wants to gain control over doping that goes on in the world. Don't let me try and fool any of our viewers today. Doping does go on in Russian sport. There are Russians who have taken drugs to enhance their performance. But I would add to that, it's happened in every country on the planet in any case. You know, this is just the nature of sport in the 21st century. I do believe Russia has been singled out largely because of Rodchenkov's claims.
How do you see things playing out since this revelation?
I've had to put money on it, you know, and I've been on RT and made predictions before, and sometimes they've been right, sometimes they've been wrong. I don't think that this will change the status quo. I think that there is so much political will to keep Russia out of sport at the moment that there is very little likelihood of the Court of Arbitration ruling against Rodchenkov.
Ellis Cashmore, Professor of Sociology at Aston University and a former sports and media lecturer. Thank you for your time.
My pleasure.